really expertly. See what they opt to go for.
Yeah, go for the Lucian. Nami, again, Hope was just dancing so perfectly in those last few fights, kind of getting out, making sure his cooldowns are out, and then dashing back in, saying, cool, I can get my burst out, not a big issue. But now JDG, I think they smelled something in the water, like you mentioned. Maybe putting Tarzan onto the Sejuani in the top side could have been big, so they might just take away that option and say, cool, well, we can put Kanavi or 369 on it ourselves.
Yeah, I really like this. If they do go for that, I think it makes sense because it's a flex in theory, but it's denial. It's mainly the denial because I honestly expected LNG to go for that. Remember, this Renekton isn't necessarily top. This could be a top or mid Renekton for LNG.
Yep.
Doinb is definitely a player who will flex it and has so far this season. Oh, okay. This is cool. So start of the split, Lucian Nami was coming out as one of the premier bot lanes, and Kog Lulu, everyone thought with the durability change, the percentage HP would be massive. Kog even got nerfed after the durability patch because he was overperforming in solo queue. But we never really saw him in the LPL. He showed up like a couple of times, but Kog Lulu just wasn't a massive thing. But LNG are bringing it out as a response to Lucian Nami. Obviously, outranges you quite heavily, outscales you, and as long as you don't get bursted in those quick trades, can do quite well. So LNG coming in with a bit of a new response now. It's up to JDG to continue how they want to do the draft. And with this Gwen ban, it just solidifies what we're saying. This Renekton can definitely be a flex.
Yeah, they're kind of saying, look, we don't believe you that you're going to be putting up the Renekton's top side. We're going to try and put some more bans into the top lane to make sure that if that does end up going there, we are going to be a little bit more sure of ourselves. As now LNG going to start banning away some more of the safe features here for JDG. I would not be surprised to see the Silas ban. I think Yagao so far this series has been impeccable. Has honestly, again, one of those kind of mid laners that doesn't really get kind of the accolades of like some of the other ones. You're thinking of the likes of Knight, Xiaohu, Doinb, Rookie. He's always kind of down below the 5th, maybe 6th innings, you know, kind of like around there. But the man has been popping off, and I love the fact that LNG are giving him the due respect.
Yeah, I mean, particularly that Azir play from game 1 was just so big that I think they want to trim the tools. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Ahri ban here. You know, they were banning it in the first rotation. So yeah, they obviously didn't this time. They took away the Poppy, so they will trim that. JDG probably going to go for the mid. A lot of teams would just take jungle and then maybe counter pick, but they want to keep the Sejuani flex alive. But also, Kanavi is the sort of person who will bring out those curveballs. Now for LNG, the Zac coming out.
Wow.
Presumably for Tarzan. This is kind of wild. They are really throwing everything out the window. This is like, you know, you prepare some curveballs for a series, and LNG are like, look, it's game 3. Let's throw all of them.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to go for something here, and I love the fact that they're saying, all right, Light, it's on you, buddy. You are our massive DPS carry. You are going to be the one that has to make this work for our team, because right now LNG are kind of saying, look, we're going all in on engage. We're going to try and find people, keep the kog'maw alive with the Lulu, and just look to kind of create opportunities from that.
And now JDG need to try and decide what the last pick is. I expect them to... I was going to say I expected them to put the Sejuani just in the top lane and pick a strong jungler. But actually, I think having the Sejuani in jungle makes a lot of sense. And the reason being is out of the composition JDG has, Sejuani is the best at interrupting Zac because your Q can just block him in midair. So having Kanavi on Sejuani instead of 369 means he's more likely to be at those setups. There's a lot of time where your top lane is not there. Maybe he's going to TP in late. Maybe he's just not grouped. Having Kanavi on the Sejuani means you have someone who can always shut down the engages. But yeah, a lot of dive potential from LNG. And this bot lane, Kog Lulu, we got to see what it can do.
Yeah, again, this is all or nothing now for LNG. They're going with a composition that very much relies on kog'maw staying alive, very much relies on him doing at the DPS. If he gets caught out, this game is all but done. Yes, you have other opportunities and they can get certain kills, but it's not going to be as effective. When you look at the side of JDG, they've got themselves exactly what they wanted. Big mid-game spikes, big power in a couple of their different carries. And honestly, it feels like JDG haven't changed anything because guess what? It's not broken.
Yeah, I mean... definitely feels like the Lucian army is a similar theme, that aggression. It's interesting to see Kanavi in this jungle matchup, what he can do in the Sejuani. You don't have fantastic setup. Often you want to have Sejuani with... I mean, this is why we've seen LNG prior, with Sejuani with those melee solo and to stack up the passive. But regardless, like, I feel like LNG's team fighting could be pretty scary in the later stages. So the expectation is once more JDG with their foot on the wheel, with that early pressure.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Like we mentioned, JDG 2-0 up, looking to 3-0 the high-flying LNG and smack them down back to reality, and more importantly, into the losers bracket, where a date with EDG does await. But if they win here, they go up against top esports, and LNG, they're throwing everything now at JDG. They want to keep this series alive. They want to keep the opportunity of a reverse sweep, and we're already starting to see a very immediate level 1. They have a ward. They know they're there. They can fully engage onto this. The Aqua Prison, and it's disaster for LNG, but elations for JDG. They have gotten everything, and all it took was 1 ward.
Oh, it's so rough. I mean, the thing is, we might not even get to see what LNG's comp could have done, because this deficit started off, it's already a 1,200 gold lead, level 1. That is so rough. The Sejuani kill, not as big of a deal, but the fact that Lucian coming lane with a double longsword, that really has to hit right now. We'll see the replay come through, and I think basically Light and Lumao just wanted to get some presence in the brushes, have Doinb with them, but the bubble connecting doesn't actually hit Light, I believe, there, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all.
I mean, the Aqua Prison was just basically at such a point where even if they start to retreat, they're going to get hit by it. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You don't lose any summoners, but oh lord, does that feel bad now for LNG, especially onto your bot lane. The win condition that you set yourself up for, because this is about the kog'maw Lulu.
Yeah, rough start, but here's hoping that LNG can bounce back. And if you want to talk a bit more about the Zac, it is actually something Tarzan played a bit last year in regionals, which they did obviously qualify for Worlds for, and also he was playing it in the summer season and summer playoffs, so definitely something he's got a lot of experience on, and something that he brought out there to great effectiveness. I do feel like, you know, it's on Kanavi to make sure you're matching him, because with Zac, you tend to spike pretty hard at like level 5, level 6. Level 6 is the ultimate, that's a no-brainer. But level 5, when you have 3 points in your E, you actually start to get enough distance on it that you can really threaten these painful gank angles. But until then, probably expect to see him just farming up. Although if a window opens, I'm sure he'll take it.
Oh yeah, window opens, you are going to take it. And I will say though, because it is a kog'maw Lulu at level 1, you are still going to have priority in this bot side, double longsword or not. Kanavi, oh, he knows. Oh, he knows, Aux. He knows he can keep punishing. The poor little bee. The poor little bee won't be able to do anything. He knows he's not on a ward either because he's got the sweeper. They want to try and crash this wave. Light will get the heal, will flash away as well. There's the Arctic Assault. They're trying to get the permafrost down. Flash in from Hope, as Hope gets himself everything here on the side of JDG. And oh, it's going to be a bad game for LNG if they don't start stemming the bleeding.
Oh, and it's so painful because Light and Lumao are doing what they should be doing in the lane matchup. Your level 1 for Kog Lulu is insanely powerful, especially when that's the weakest point for Lucian Nami. So you want to apply that pressure, you want to push the wave in, you want to have control. But that exposes you. That exposes you to ganks. And with the big wave, I think that gave them confidence. Like Tarzan on the bot side, big wave. Surely they won't make a gank happen. And not only did it make it happen, but they also managed to secure the kill with Light burning both suns.
Now, oh, Doinb gets flicked back here onto the tower. Now Yagao can go forward. And speaking of going forward,
oh, no.
Blink and you'll miss it, Aux. Blink and you'll miss it. This is just destruction. Flash forward, Yagao gets the solo kill in mid. Oh my lord, LNG, you haven't got a snowball's chance in hell.
It's looking dire. 5-0. We're not even at 4 minutes, and they're looking for more.
They're looking for more because Tarzan's already been chunked out. Tarzan's going to go into cell division. JDG missing, getting a lot of chunk damage down. They got what they wanted because not having that passive so early means that the Zac just can't do anything.
Yeah, you see, last time it was played was on the 26th of August, so a year ago in 3 days was LNG against EDG.
Yeah, by Tarzan, by Tarzan.
Yeah, so something he was bringing out. I'm real. I don't know if what the Zac would have done this game. I don't think we're really going to get a chance to find out because this game has not been about that Zac. This game has been about everything else, and it is looking dire. Lumao trying to freeze the wave here and just overextend. You're like a 3rd HP, but Doinb as well took that heavy damage from the tower shot.
Oh, we're going back to live.
Tries to commit the,
we're going back to live. Again, isn't he? We're dead. They're dead. They're dead. They're all dead. Stop. They're already dead. JDG are taking no prisoners. This isn't even close. This isn't even fair, Aux.
I feel like we've had the reverse, right? Often we start a series with a slower game. Sorry, with a faster game where, like, you know, one team gets a good draft edge and it tends to be like an explosive start. And then, like, you know, we maybe get like a trade, right? One team has a good draft, has an advantage, the other team adapts. And then normally, like, later in the series, we get, like, you know, these slower games because teams become a bit more nervous as we get close to the ending. JDG have ramped up, right? It feels like they were warming up in those first two, and now, man, this game doesn't even look close. And last game didn't even look close. This game looks even worse.
Yeah, this is desperate. There are more kills than minutes at the moment. Another 20 seconds and that will change, but you're looking at an exceptionally fed Sejuani. It's a hyper accelerated Lucian.
2.5k gold lead at less than 6 minutes.
And look, this is the thing that we've been harping on about. If you're watching playoffs for this is day 8 in a row of best of 5s. We've been talking about some of the teams coming into this. It's not just good enough to go in with your regular season form. You had to level up. LNG did. EDG did. These are teams that we have been seeing kind of come together and really make a place for them. JDG just showing, hey, look, we've been busy too. And we're leveling up just as much as everybody else. And the fact that they were already so high up in their levels, it just makes them even more scary.
Yep, yeah, it looks worrying. But we're going to talk about what the potential win con is for LNG. Because I'm going to be real, the win con for JDG is you
I didn't want to put you in that. I didn't want to put you in that situation. I was like, I don't know if I want to put him there.
I'll do it. What else can I talk about, right? JDG, if they just keep doing what they're doing, they're fine. Clean sailing, right? For the side of LNG, Tarzan's now level 5. This is when you can start to get those like long range dashes in with a Z. You can start to get those gank angles. There's a lot of power afforded there, but you really don't want to contest JDG in even numbers. It's about finding those windows, finding those opportunities where they are there. Another thing is that the Lulu kog'maw spikes pretty hard on 1-2 items, so at least you can kind of match the Lucian Nami. It's just you match them in a different way, because the Lucian Nami is that bursty lane, whereas Lulu is very much a DPS lane.
Go. Weaver's wall comes out. Yeah, it's going to be very much a grey screen lane if they're not too careful. Lumao doesn't have flash yet. Aqua Prison. One more hit of a rock, and that goes straight into the back of his head. 1-2 Uniflu. It's just nothing close. I can't do anything. JDG 0 and 7. They're trying to keep the kills to the minutes. Oh, that's what they want for this game. That's the new objective.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a pretty good job. I mean, we said combined kills per minute. JDG highest in the league at 0.93. This game, JDG, it's not even combined, it's just their kills per minute.
Yeah, it's that. Well, technically it is combined because LNG have yet to get one. But now 369 going toe-to-toe with Ala. And you've got the LNG jungle and mid combination coming in. Kanavi will flash away because he knows there's some good skirmishing power here. Yagao is here, though, and will stop their kind of full retreat. This is a bit dicey here for LNG, but JDG recognizing, look, we don't need to give over any unnecessary kills, and we're probably just going to have to give over this Rift Herald.
Yeah, I mean, they've been a heavy beeline for it. I mean, if LNG get this Herald with the deficit they have...
Hope is coming.
It's magic.
Hope is coming. You got Hope and Missing coming in now to try and make this one work. The Rift Herald will be taken out. Tarzan doesn't have Smite, so they're going to have to try and secure that one themselves. Now we're going to have to fight afterwards. Tarzan gets himself the Rift Herald, but Doinb goes down in a trade. They're going to try and jump onto Zac, because Zac just hops his way out. Tarzan picks up the Rift Herald, and look, yes, you give away a kill, but that's a net positive for LNG.
Yeah, I do think Doinb maybe a bit ambitious when he dashed in. I'm pretty sure the plan was get the Herald and get out of dodge. Now Kanavi's invaded though, but you see that you can interrupt the dash with the Sejuani. They're gonna keep trying to play work though, but now Missing.
Hello.
I was like, I saw someone go over the wall. I was like, why is it a Nami? Why is it a Nami?
I thought it was Doinb, and I was like, that's why I immediately went Missing. It's like, I'm not quite sure.
Fish is the most deadliest.
A flying fish at that point in time, but yeah, I mean, definitely an interesting setup there, but did do enough to keep Kanavi safe, so very well done there by JDG. But like you said, LNG get themselves the Rift Herald. It's a very, very thin silver lining on what is an incredibly dark cloud, but let's see what they can do with it.
You know what I like to call it? Copper lining, right? Silver's a bit too luxurious. We'll go with a copper lining for now. Something, it ain't much, but at least it's something.
And yeah, now copper, you can trade it, man. It's all about the econ. You know,
that's the game plan. And I mean, look at the player gold, by the way. How it's just everyone on JDG apart from Missing above everyone on LNG. So continuing this momentum, I would like to see JDG actually look to prior the dragon quite early. I feel like you're so far ahead that you should be looking to like get early dragons on the cards, right? Because as much as Lulu scales well, I still think JDG are fine in the later stages just because of the fact they have like Taliyah into, you know, a bunch of melee champions. I would like to see them get that early dragon just to start stacking, so it's a bit bit of a sooner win con than we saw in game 2, especially when you're this far ahead this early.
Yeah, look, they're just going to try and put some resources now into Light. He should get himself at least 3 plates now from that particular place. So very nicely there for the kog'maw to go back, pick up his Blade of the Ruined King. But I was only just noticing there, it's a full level and a half difference between Yagao and Doinb right now. And that's not even just because it's yes, because 6 of the 8 kills have been a participant here for the side of JDG's Yagao. Yagao has just been exceptional at just making sure he's making the most of this Taliyah pick. And we can see why maybe Doinb was putting himself on Taliyah's duty in those last 2 games, because if you give it to Yagao, he's just going to take over.
Yeah, especially, I think Taliyah is so good in the melee champions, because a lot of melee champions need a dash to get onto range champions, and we know Doinb loves playing those melees. Like, a big talking point for LNG was the double melee solo laners with Tarzan on the Sejuani, and so things like Azir, things like Taliyah are so effective against that. Now, JDG have done what I thought they should, done what I asked of them. They've gone for that early dragon. They picked up the cloud. There's an ocean coming soon. That means it's going to be Mountain, Infernal, or Hextech, Soul, which is all fantastic. You see, like, going for a pretty heavy trade there with the Blade of the Ruined King. The pretty big power spike, and Hope actually is on the worst end of that trade.
Well, you do have full summoners now available here on the bot side. They're trying to use the living artillery to see if there's anybody lurking off into the brushes. Tarzan now sitting here on the bot side saying, look, Hope doesn't have a lot of mana, but that could be a little bit of a bait. Maybe we could go for a bit of a move or a play should there be anyone available. But it ends up being just everyone backing themselves away. Lots of shutdowns here for the side of LNG should they be able to find a kill, but it's still 4,000 gold. Very difficult for them to really find something here, especially with just the pure stats diff that you get with those items being completed so early.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the biggest one is the fact we have, like, mythics coming in. Like, Hope is like an item and a half. Kanavi's got his mythic. 369's got his mythic. Doinb has a Vamp Scepter.
Yeah.
It's not going well.
He's got
managed to pick up
Merchants.
his first item, and he's done that because he's got nothing else in his entire inventory.
Yeah. I actually just noticed there, just as we saw this little skirmish in the top side, we actually see 369 going for the Comet onto the at the moment, lethality Aatrox there. So recognizing you got to go for
actually.
Yeah, so actually didn't clock it at all because it's not something we generally see. And I'm just wondering, it's obviously just something he's highlighting as a more of a poke heavy deal. You go in with your 3 kind of strikes and such like that. Now he's going to have to pop his ultimate. We're going to have the Weaver as well because the rest of JDG are here. The Cell Division comes out. All caught between his tower though. They're trying to kill off this Zac. They're not quite able to get him just yet. 369 goes down. And it's actually a rare mistake now coming out. Doinb does get himself over the wall. They're trying to push forward here. It doesn't quite get into mega form before he goes down. Now Doinb trying to maybe go toe-to-toe here with Kanavi, but it's very difficult for him to get this without the cooldowns. Yeah, I think Kanavi recognized that as well. Level 10 coming in here. So it ends up being a 2 for 2. Not bad. Again, equal trading is totally fine for LNG.
Yeah, big shutdown as well. Like, you'll take that every day of the week. Early ult from Lumao there. But you can see the trades are actually getting kind of hard. This is one of the things is that, like, this is a burst bot lane. This is why we expected to see the Kog Lulu into Lucian army, because, like, you literally want to be going, like, E, Q, and pop your passive between that with your W on Lucian. That's it. But Kog will just, a second you're overstaying for one auto, he'll outtrade you. And Lulu as well, the shielding going such a long way.
Oh, Hope. He nearly got caught out, but they had a feeling that Tarzan would have been resetting, getting himself back onto the map. So with a flash available, and of course the Let's Bounce as well. You got to be so careful. And let's have a look now at the replay here, because again, look at the amount of tower shots 369 just has to take, because it just takes so long to kill off Tarzan.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, because he has his passive as well, it's not the best target to hunt down on the tower. And it's just like taking a lot of tower hits. 369 definitely makes a mistake there by pushing back in and getting hit by the slow. But we go back to this fight where he's just decimating Ale.
I mean, is he? Because he's going to have to flash away now, because he actually ends up having to use a summoner to make sure he did not get Mega Gnar'd into the wall. Ala coming back into this fight, a little bit more gusto, but you can see Kanavi, he knows he's got an opportunity here. He knows he can take out this Gnar, but Ala's already too aware of it, backs himself away, does not want to be caught out.
Yeah, I mean, the Mega Gnar coming in does obviously change the state of the fight, but 369 is doing so much damage for that flip.
Oh, 369, he messed it up. He messed it up. He didn't quite get himself underneath or away from the tower. Ala now going to find himself at a 1-for-1, but again, these are good trade-ups for LNG.
Yeah, I mean, this has not been a 9 for 369 is all I'm going to say. Just, you know, he's chunked out low. He could just wait for Yagao and Kanavi to come in, but instead tries to go for the play, gets tower aggro, ends up going down. And considering how far ahead JDG were so early in the game, this has not panned out well.
Well, Tarzan now jumps onto Yagao. He's going to flash in. Let's kiss. Let's bounce. And they're going to see now Yagao getting a lot of damage, but the heal from missing and the tidal wave does completely separate Tarzan from the fight. But this is starting to get a little bit funky all of a sudden. LNG have still got a little bit of fight left in them, Aux.
Yes, does some hope. And if Tarzan gets in the back line when he has a couple more items, you know, definitely at least a mythic, he can be such a frustrating threat to deal with, but just doesn't quite have the damage now to cut through even the squishier targets. JDG are leaning towards that Herald right now. Try and get the second, but Tarzan just walks in like nobody's business. Like, nope, I'm doing this. I don't care. Try and stop me. I dare you.
I mean, you've got some pretty big item spikes coming out here from LNG. Double Blade the Ruined King for Renekton and Light. You've got the Triforce now for Alla. So you're actually at a pretty significant power spike. And you can see that JDG, they have to respect it. They can't just let these ones go anymore. And they're trying to get advantages elsewhere on the map, which I think is the correct call. But definitely a bit of a humbling moment in the last few minutes here for JDG. Not really as desperately ahead as they thought they were.
Yeah, I'd love to see them pry out this dragon again. Leaning towards that soul would be such a great win con. The focal point now is towards that mid lane tower. You gotta be so careful though, because Tarzan is just off screen and his range is so big with his dash.
I mean, they're jumping onto Kanavi. They can slow him down. He's already used the Arctic Assault. You can see the Blade of the Ruined King shut down. That is a huge shutdown now for Light. And all of us, Aux, the cogs are turning. LNG are coming back into this game. I can feel it.
I mean, it's just the damage available. I mean, even one item is such a big spike. The percentage HP cutting through the Sejuani. And suddenly, JDG, considering how far ahead they were, things are starting to look a little bit rough. They still have an advantage. They're still in the lead. They've been taking some bad trades in the past few plays.
I will say you did get the 2 towers on bot side as Lulu now has to flash away. Doesn't quite die, but just about keeps himself alive. There's going to be the Weaver's Wall actually used by Yagao to kind of cut off Doinb, but JDG now starting to wake up a little bit more. It was about a 4,500 gold being. It's now down to about 3,000. This is kind of slowly becoming a thing. Tarzan jumps in onto Hope, but they knew exactly where he was. They CC him up at all times. They're not quite killing him off just yet, but with a tidal wave, not quite enough damage, but the Arctic Assault will be. So you get the jungler down, and you will get this mid lane tier 1 as well.
Yeah, and now they can head straight to the dragon. No Tarzan makes it easy peasy. And having vision over the wall, the difference between dealing with a Zac coming from vision and one coming from the fog of war is night and day. JDG quickly responds to Tarzan, get another kill, get this dragon. And yeah, look, I've been critical of JDG in the past few minutes, said like the fact just so far ahead and trading down, not ideal, but they are still in such a big lead. And the fact that they know Tarzan's there, so easy for the dash to come in and the instant CC response.
Again, just waited for him to come in, almost baited him in, saying, look, come on, go for it. We know you want to try and make this big play with
I double dare you.
Yeah, I double dog dare you right now. And he was just like, all right, I was double dog dared. I got to go for it. But that's now a 5-1-5 Kanavi. The Sejuani is huge. But like you said, that damage is going to be not so relevant, or those health stats not going to be so relevant when you get to 2 items now onto the kog'maw, maybe even 3. This is where the game starts to get a little bit weirder for JDG. They need to be picking and choosing their fights a little bit more carefully. But so far so good.
They need to take into account exactly like the positioning of Light, how they're opting into these fights, who is a threat. If they end up overcommitting and Light's just able to free hit, he can shred, but they can play so easy for picks. There's so much pick opportunity on the Lucian army, on the Taliyah, on the Sejuani. They don't have to go for full 5v5s. Don't want to said though, they've secured the second dragon. Still a while before they can lean towards a soul, but it is going to be a Hextech soul, which is a bit of a difficult one to deal with when you have 3 melee champions. Like the AoE slow is a pain. For the time being, expect the game to slow down a little bit just because both heralds have been taken, all the tier 1 towers down as well in favor of JDG. So it's going to be a bit harder to find momentum from here on out. They need to be a bit more creative with how they approach the game from here.
Yeah, let's take stock of where the game is right now. It's about 4,500 gold lead, nearly 5 to be perfectly honest. As we come up towards the 20-minute mark, JDG own this top half of the map, and they are committing 4 members for this blue buff take because they know they have got the power to try and skirmish around someone. You have an exceptionally powerful spike right now for Hope on this Lucian, but they have got vision on them here as Light. Actually, they're going to have to use his cleanse as the bubble comes out. They get the knock up. Kanavi recognized he was in a lot of trouble if he didn't flash away. Now Doinb has to back away from this top tier 2, and JDG still confident moving forward. Again, you've got a very tanky Sejuani, lots of damage here with the Lucian and the Aatrox, and they're going to be able to bully this one out. Allah's not coming. Allah has no TP.
Yeah, he can't join in this situation. They won't be able to get a tower. The wave is cleared. But I love this. The JDG look for those pick opportunities, look for the pressure, and then attempt to just rotate onto this tower with the wave coming. Do actually get a TP coming from 369 to defend the bot lane because Allah was heavy pushing this in and looking for a T2 of his own.
Well, here we go. We're going to have a bit of a 1v1 right now. Flash from the side of 369 means that Allah has to flash away as well. He's got himself Mega very, very soon, but can he get it ranked up a little bit in time? Yagao can just wall, so he knows he has to go for it now. And Yagao hits him with a rock in the back of the head, so he doesn't get it. But look at this. Hope's been caught, and Hope's been shut down. That's huge there for Light. Yeah,
that's massive. All his TP is coming up in 30 seconds. LNG can posture around the Baron. Like, they have a lot of Baron DPS. They could look for another pick. They could maybe threaten it when Ollie respawns. Not sure they're going to be able to pull any of that up, but regardless, they managed to find a catch out. Tarzan showing what the Zac can do. Oh my god,
Yagao, flash forward here from Light, and they're going to try and punch in with Tarzan as well. Yagao is not quite killed just yet, but Doinb underneath the tower, and they get him! Missing, not quite falling just yet, but they will get the ultimate now here onto the kog'maw. Light, fearless moving forward. He knows he's the carry.
Yeah, and with mid down, if they'd got missing, maybe that would have been enough for them to try the Baron, but I think they're going to back away with the low health bars. But still, LNG still showing they have life in this game, in this series. This kog'maw Lulu starting to do work, and this Zac. I mean, Hope, you are hopelessly overextended here, buddy.
Hopelessly devoted, and ooh, this is the difference. You talked about it as well. When you have vision on the Zac and when you don't have vision on the Zac. When you don't, you just have nowhere to go, and this was a very good opportunistic play.
I was gonna say, if you dash, flash, and Gale Force, and you're still caught, you are out of position like a hell of a lot. Is all I'm gonna say on that one.
That's on you, son.
Yeah, that's on you, buddy. You got given every tool under the sun to get away, but just overextended, and yeah, completely. If Zac's coming out of vision, it's so hard to factor in. And Tarzan doing a good job of predicting where he was moving to. Now it's 30 seconds to the dragon. This isn't sold for JDG yet, but would put them very close. And actually, look at the goal. Light, because of those shutdowns he's picked up, because of those plates, he's the most wealthy person on the Rift right now.
Yeah, he's the most wealthy person in the Rift and definitely the priority target. Remember, he flashed and he cleansed in that last fight to get those 2 kills. So not really an ideal situation here for the kog'maw without it. Actually, he'll have his cleanse back very, very shortly, but not having that flash definitely puts him in a little bit of a precarious situation. However, with the Wit's End and the steel-plated toe caps, he's got himself a pretty decent amount of survivability with that Lulu. And now they're saying, cool, you go for the dragon. Like you said, Aux, this isn't sold just yet. We have a kog'maw and a Blade the Rune King Renekton. We can shred this.
Yeah, they might look for a fight as well, and engage from Tarzan could be huge. You can see Yagao is soloing out the dragon. So LNG are looking for a fight, but they don't find one yet.
No, they don't find one just yet. Tarzan gets the blast cone over the wall. They're not going to try and take out that ward because they had already aggroed the Baron. Tarzan already down to about 2/3 of his HP. And I like the ideas here from LNG, and they're not a million miles out of this. Remember, it was 4,000 gold in about 5 minutes. It's still 4,000 gold.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing is it's been like 20 minutes and the gold lead hasn't changed. This kind of shows how accelerated JDG were and how much LNG have done to keep it within arm's length. And now, yeah, they can start this off. The cog DPS is insane with these items.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. JDG, they're slow to the punch. They don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're going to be here on time because Kanavi's not even here. He hasn't got flash over the wall, and the Arctic Assault's already been used. They get it. LNG with daylight robbery, and yes, you'll lose your Zac, but that's whatever. You don't care. You will gladly pay that price. Now JDG seeing if they can maybe find someone off the back of this one here. They've got the speed boost here from Lumao, and yeah, they're out. They're done. It's a straight-up heist right now. 369 trying to make this one work. They're trying to jump onto the kog'maw. Doinb getting very, very low with the exhaust, but the wild grow keeps him alive. And LNG from under the noses of JDG, they've got themselves a lifeline.
And JDG just didn't respect it. Like, Kanavi could have been there. He was doing Krugs instead, and obviously he didn't have flash, so he can't dash over the Krug wall and then flash over the pit. It was just a great heads-up play from LNG, seeing the window, knowing they have the DPS, and had multiple members there to apply that pressure. Really good play from them. They have the Baron in hand now. It denies it from JDG, but also gives them that gold, gives them that experience, gives them that pushing power. And something to note is the fact that, like we said earlier, Yagao was a level up on Doinb. Doinb now a level up on Yagao. Top lane is even, jungle is even. Hope is still ahead in experience, but Lumao is actually up in return. Like, a lot of the time when a team gets a big lead, it's not just the gold, it's the experience, but LNG have closed that gap.
I mean, we're seeing a very consistent trend in this series. Game 1, JDG massively ahead in the early game. Mid-game, a couple of different mistakes that kind of bring LNG back into it, but JDG have the clutch factor. Game number 2, it was, again, an exceptional start from JDG, and yes, they did win that very convincingly, but there was definitely a couple of mid-game blunders that left them wanting for a couple more minutes. This is where we're starting to see JDG have this consistent issue coming into this series, and it's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on as they progress through the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say as well, this game started probably as bad as you could imagine. Oh, Light.
Whoa! Okay, Light does have to use the wild growth and, of course, gets his cleanse out of him as well. Hope looking for it, but there's the Weaver's wall. He flashes over the wall, though, and goes golden. Light! Why? Why, Light? You didn't need to be there, and now LNG, all their good work is basically gone. 369 trying to see if he can find Tarzan underneath the tower. Won't land the Q, and now Doinb trying to see if he can maybe capitalize on overextended Aatrox. The waves are in good positions, but Light, that was just not it, mate.
Yeah, and all summoners burned. We are 2 minutes from Dragon, all summoners down. I don't think JDG will be able to end here. They'll probably just take the inhibitor. But man, that is not a mistake you want to be making when you are 1 game away from getting knocked out into the loser's bracket.
Yeah, and again, look, this is regardless of Baron, they can go, cool, we can push into the mid lane, we can get ourselves an inhibitor. That's a pressure point now available to ourselves. We actually saw Ala try to take the tower and topside solo and just wasn't able to do it. Oh, Yagao! They've gifted Yagao! He's been left high and dry! He's been brought back, and no! One mistake after another. LNG find another opportunity to keep themselves in this game.
Oh my, yeah, the Hex Gate came out and he was just left behind. The door closed. Someone slammed it as they went through. And Yagao goes down. He will be up in time for the Dragon. But still, it means there's this moment where LNG have pressure on the map, can start to apply it. But it will be Soul in 1 minute and 15 if JDG secure it. No flash or cleanse on Light. No flash or heal on Lumao. No flash on Tarzan either. And it's only 369 who is lacking that big summoner spell. So JDG have an edge in gold. They have the extra stats from the dragons they've already picked up. And they have the summoner advantage. But LNG, they've been doing their best to keep themselves in this game.
I love what LNG are doing right now. They're kind of saying, look, we can't take a 5v5. We need to find a pick. We need to find Kanavi.
Wait, they can kill Kanavi here.
And they can kill Kanavi straight away. They're going to jump on him, but the Arctic Assault's away. They're a little bit overzealous there. I feel like they could have waited till he walked over towards the brush and maybe got him then.
I think the problem was he popped his sweeper. As soon as he pops his sweeper, you'll see them, and then it's all done. But Kanavi doing a good job. He's the tankiest. He can face check. Remember, his passive means he's even bulkier. That first couple of seconds of combat.
369.
But now 369.
369. He's going in, but he's going to get taken out. Not quite yet, but they're going to see Ala jumping in on top of him. He wants to try and keep his ultimate for as long as he can. Tarzan has died, and 369 is still going. Look at the healing on this. And now Light is dead. It's a triple kill coming in here for the Lucian. And out of nowhere, LNG. They thought they found the pick, but they got picked themselves. And if they can take out Ala, they can barrel down the mid and set themselves up for a match against top esports.
They don't even need the soul. JDG have been aggression. 3 winning early games and 3 won games. The first 3-0 we've had in our summer playoffs, and JDG do it in style.
And it looks like 2020, even though it's 2022, we will have top esports versus JDG, our spring and summer champions from 2020, both fighting for a championship here in 2022, and JDG looking exceptional against LNG.
And the thing is, like, LNG, there was moments where they challenged sure. That game 1 in particular, but this just felt like JDG domination. And I'm not even sure I can say that, like, LNG looked like significantly worse today. I think JDG are just unreal. I think JDG are just on another level. We saw the early game domination. 369, absolute monster. Yagao had a great series. Kanavi dictating the pace of the early game, and the bot lane as well. Hope and missing. I feel like one of the issues we actually had, I remember us talking about this, Ashin, was who do we highlight on this team? There's obvious answers, 369, Kanavi, but I feel like everyone deserves a mention. Everyone came together today, and they just looked so good.
I mean, you know, we talked about it right at the start of the day. Lyric called the 3-0, and of course there was a lot of LNG faithful who were saying the non-believers shun them all, but there's a reason why we have to call it a miracle run. There's a reason why we gotta say that it's very unlikely that LNG win against these teams, because these teams have proven throughout the entirety of summer that they are just a different breed of competition. They are a different breed of aggression. And JDG, I am so excited to see this team now just moving forward and even likely towards Worlds, because this team just looks exceptional.
And I mean, I'm so excited for the next round of playoffs, because we're going to see them go up against Top Esports, which is such like a historic... It's such a historic matchup, but also the last time these two played each other was the one of the first series of the entire split. It was their first series. JDG won 2-1, but like we haven't seen them go head to head in a long time. It was... Sorry, wait, it wasn't that... It was Top Esports' first one, right?
Yes.
Wasn't it in summer? Yeah. So Top Esports first... I think it was both of their first series. Like, they went head-to-head there. JDG had the edge. And then we've had the whole split since. It was actually day 2 of the summer season. Yep. So we haven't seen them go head-to-head in a while. Both of them look completely informed. Both of them expect to come out the gate swinging. That's going to be a fantastic series. But, yeah, JDG, they are looking insane.
Yeah, I mean... It's just another level, and I think it just shows just how incredibly powerful and you know, kind of straight up strength that they have in their team. Because when they needed 369 to step up, he did. When they needed Kanavi to kind of, you know, smother Tarzan, he did. Yagao, exceptional in game number 1 and 2 on the Azir and Silas respectfully. And then in this last 2 games, the Lucian Nami for Hope and Missing in the bot side. Again, we didn't really highlight them, but it's not because they're bad. It's just because there's so much to highlight.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that's the case. And I think LNG, just being real, they were outclassed in all 5 roles today. That's just how it is. Felt like the edge was all in JDG's favor. It's kind of expected when you get a 3-0, but we've had close 3-0s at times, right? This was not a close 3-0. There was one game where it felt like LNG really had a fighting chance, and that was about it. So currently, I think JDG are looking like a tournament favorite, which makes sense, all things considered. But the fact that LNG made this big run and have now been halted in such an abrupt fashion.
Yeah, I mean, LNG, there was an awful lot of support for them coming into this split. An awful lot of people believing in Doinb. Not a great regular split, but seemed to turn it around right in the perfect time, right before playoffs. And even in this game, to be perfectly honest, there were moments where Light was able to put down damage, where the side of JDG looked like they had to maybe kind of, you know, think about where they were going, what they were going to be doing. But just simple little mistakes, and it's not even as if they were super egregious a lot of the time. Fair enough, 1 or 2, but a lot of the time it was just JDG forcing mistakes. JDG saying, look, if you don't have absolutely perfect reactions to this, you're dead, and there's nothing you can do about it.
This was such a rough one to have as a game 3 because the start was so abysmal. You can see that the start of the game, like a big influx of gold when there was that level 1. And LNG did a pretty good job of making things work given the context of the game they were put in. But Soul was looming for JDG. The goal lead was still substantial. And when it came to the fights, JDG was just so clean. I feel like the team fighting has really been excellent today. Just all 5 members on the same page and finding those avenues in. There's avenues to approach, there's angles. Like that final fight, everyone just flying in with the Weaver's Wall from Yagao as well. And yeah, LNG, I think, did the best they could given the context of the game and what they were put in, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, it really wasn't. And look, we look at LNG, they are not out of the playoffs just yet. They did win 3 series in a row, which guaranteed them at minimum 1 life, 1 guardian angel, if you will. But they got